Olympus craves spectacles, and earthly kings crave cheap toys. What poets would later call the Ninth Labor was in truth nothing more than the bloody satisfaction of a spoiled girl's whim. She wanted a toy, and I eviscerated an entire nation. The world is used to thinking that war is the will of warriors. A lie. This war began with a woman's caprice and ended through the hysteria of a goddess who lacked for entertainment. You call this a feat? I call it the stench of ruptured guts and salt that burns the eyes. I brought back gold, but I lost the last remnants of my humanity. This is not a victory. This is filth, and its price is nothing. Salt. That's the first thing that comes back when you close your eyes. Not blood. Blood is sweet, heavy, like molten copper. This is the salt of sweat stinging your eyes, mixing with the dust of Themiscyra. The salt of the Aegean, ground into your pores, through long days of rowing through the Hellespont, into the black void of the Euxine Sea. It bites into the shallow scratches on your forearms, a reminder that you're still alive. For now, the deck timbers felt too thin under bare feet, the crack of cedar, the groan of the masts. We didn't go there for glory. Glory is Eurystheus's disease, his own refined fever. This time he didn't even bother to spring his own trap. He simply caved to a whim of his daughter, Admete. She wanted a toy, Hippolyta's golden girdle, a gift from Ares, a symbol of power for which an entire nation was ready to rot in the earth. We crossed half the world to satisfy the craving of a girl who had never seen steel shear through muscle. That girdle wasn't just a trophy, it was the metallic incarnation of recognition. Ares, the god of pure fury, forged it from brass and willpower, gifting it to Hippolyta at the foot of the Caucasus as the mark of her sovereignty. She was Areia, the one who most resembled her father in the art of killing. As long as that artifact cinched her waist, she was immune to fear, a living banner defying all of Hellas. Strength belongs to no gender. It belongs to the one capable of holding it. So said the god of war. When our galleys moored at the mouth of the Thermodon, I expected a hail of arrows. I expected the sky to turn black with feathered death. But we were met with silence. The wild, startled silence of Themiscyra. My fingers, used to gripping the club until the knuckles turned white, suddenly felt clumsy. I demanded a meeting, against my own nature, against the habit of crushing skulls first and counting the dead later. Hippolyta, she didn't smell like I expected, not of animal fat or the reek of battle. She carried the scent of the dry steppe and saffron. When she stepped onto my ship, time slowed. It wasn't a divine peace, but the kind of silence that precedes an alpine slide. I saw the pulse in her neck, rhythmic, calm. She wasn't afraid. The girdle of Ares had burned the fear out of her heart. It was more irritating than open enmity. The massive, scar-torn hands of heroes against her slender, iron wrists. She smiled, simply, without guile. She was ready to give it up, this cursed gift, as a gesture of respect, without a single drop of blood. But a peaceful ending is not for the gods. Hera, her rage is like the sky above, an inescapable curse, as certain as a stone's fall to the earth. She took the form of an Amazon, dissolved into them, became part of the crowd. I felt her presence before she even spoke, a cold draft on a sunny day. And then came the scream. It tore through the air like a rusted blade through linen. The strangers are kidnapping our queen. They have come to make us slaves. It hit like a spark in a dry August steppe. A second, and the air turned sharp. The Amazons, seizing bows and spears, lunged at our camp. The war maiden's cavalry charged with frantic fury. The earth bucked under the hooves, jarring the last of our senses loose. the sound of 1,000 bowstrings releasing at once. It's not a roar, it's a dry rustle, like locusts in July. An impact. My shoulder throbbed with a dull heat. An arrow grazed me, leaving a trail of fire. I don't look. No point. My lungs tighten, forcing air out in short stabs. Inhale, dust. Exhale, iron. I saw her eyes, just for a moment. There was no betrayal in them, only a shock that was quickly glazed over by a cold film of rage. She thought it was me. I decided it was her. A trap. Time turned into torn rags. The mud underfoot became slick. Sludge mixed with river water and the things leaking from ruptured bodies. You stop being a man. You become iron, void of will, possessing only a function: to crush. Every swing of the sword is an effort that tears a groan from the depths of the gut. Aella, the fastest, like the shadow of a lynx in the brush. Her spear sang past my ear. I felt her body shudder when my blade met her ribs. It wasn't heroic. It was foul. The crunch of bone you don't hear with your ears, but feel through the hilt of the weapon, straight into your elbow. She fell into the dust, and the dust turned black instantly. Protoia. 7 victories. She attacked with the fury of a wounded lioness. I saw her eyes, flooded with sweat. We breathed in the same rhythm. A wheeze on the intake, a blow on the out. The strike of a shield against teeth. That salt taste again. She choked on her own blood before my knife found the gap in her armor. What for? Emptiness. Combat isn't a song. It's a ringing in the ears that makes you want to howl. It's the stench of entrails and heated metal. The sun was setting, staining the river the color of copper, and in that red haze I saw Hippolyta. She wasn't running, she was coming for me, and her gold was blinding. I don't remember the strike, only the sensation of weight remains. She fell forward onto me. Her fingers caught the mane of my lion skin for a second. I felt the heat of her breath on my neck. One last wet exhale. I leaned down. The gold of the girdle was warm. From her, I undid the buckles. Bloodied fingers slipping on the metal. The golden chain felt like nothing more than heavy iron now. No magic, only the sensation of a vast, senseless loss. Somewhere off to the side, Theseus was dragging Antiope toward the ships. I heard her scream, but it sounded distant, as if it were happening underwater. My men were looting the tents. They were laughing. Their laughter hit the cliffs of Themiscyra and bounced back, distorted. Cold. The sudden nocturnal cold of the steppe pierced to the bone. I looked at my hands. Massive, covered in soot and clotted blood, they held what we came for. We sailed back. The wind blew at our backs as if the earth itself wanted to spit us out of its embrace. I sat at the stern, staring at the dark water. The girdle lay beside me, wrapped in a dirty rag. I close my eyes and hear the rustle of bowstrings again. Eurystheus took the gift with trembling hands. Admete. She didn't even glance at the stains that wouldn't wash off the gold. She just tried it on in front of a mirror. She laughed, and all I felt was the salt eating into my eyes, and how something inside me finally hardened, turning into a stone heavier than the sky Atlas holds. This was the 9th time I died along with those I killed, but this time I'm not sure I came back.